Cameroon's Railway Corporation, Kmer, launches an express train link between Yaounde and Douala with an inaugural trip that took off this morning from Besenge Douala to Elixono, Yaounde. A major revolution is underway at the General Delegation of National Security as biometric passports will henceforth be issued in the country in just 48 hours. Families, friends, and state dignitaries pay glowing tribute to former Prime Minister Simon Achidi-Achu as the 87-year-old statesman begins his journey to eternity. Those are our lead stories. Hello and thanks for joining us. I am Ben Menopufong and this is the 7:30 News.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
You're welcome once again. We open the 7:30 News tonight on an express train as the Cameroon's railway inaugurates an express train line to serve Yaounde and Douala. The carrier was inaugurated today alongside 4 new locomotives by Transport Minister Jean-Ernest Masena Ngalebi-Behe, who called on the passengers to adopt mature and responsible attitudes as they make use of this new and faster means of transportation. Nuweya Ben Mudika witnessed the inaugural arrival of the express train at the Ligason railway station and now reports.
After the Ezeka incident of October 2016, this twin event comes to demonstrate the commitment of the government and Cameroon management towards modernizing rail transport.
You have 4 stops, one at Edea, one at Ezeka, one at Mesondo, Makak and Gumu. We wanted to have a solution to transport to the people living along the roadways.
The express train will leave Douala every morning to Yaounde and take back passengers in the evening. Its first-class lounges have comfortable seats, sockets for ICT gadgets, a bar restaurant, and a convivial space for the trip. The train's first-ever journey and the inauguration of 4 new locomotives are palpable pointers to government's plans to give rail transport in Cameroon a facelift.
One of these locomotives will be dedicated to this train between Yaounde and Douala, and the 3 other locomotives we will dedicate on the bed train between Yaounde and Gaoundere. You have a lot of projects like 25 passenger cars which are on the loop, and for renovation of the roadways between Douala and Yaounde and between Belabo and Gaoundere.
With these innovations, the population and train passengers can more than ever before be reassured of a regular, sure, comfortable, and a secure traditional form of transportation.
And the express train from Douala to Yaounde and back to Douala is thus on the rails, much to the satisfaction of passengers who see it as a welcome relief after years of interruption. Scholar Maloke spoke to some of them, those passengers of that inaugural journey, who are all expressing the wish that the initiative lasts.
As from 5:30 a.m., passengers could be seen rushing into the train station in Besenge and others struggling to get their tickets at the counters before checking into the train. 6 a.m., the train took off, driven by a new locomotive provided by government and painted in the national colors. In the different cars, the passengers were amazed and expressed satisfaction with the renovation carried out and the respect of time. I am happy with the relaunch of this train and with the respect of time. I can go to Yaounde, solve my problems in the ministry, and come back to Douala and sleep at home.
The train is good, it's good. I'm very happy to, 5 years after, again to make a journey with a train.
The Sawa traditional rulers were not left out.
I've traveled in very well, and the train was comfortable.
After 4 hours 45 minutes with 5 stops of 2 minutes at intermediate stations, the express train from Douala arrived to Yaounde without any hitches.
And now on to this revolution at the General Delegation of National Security. The ordeal that Cameroonians were subjected to in the past to obtain a passport will soon be history. A simplified procedure that now makes it possible for that vital travel document to be obtained within 48 hours has been put in place. It replaces the old one that was not only long and winding but laden with corruption and other bureaucratic hurdles. The new biometric system went operational today, and our reporter Kilian Ndifon was amongst the privileged few who watched the start of that passport revolution.
The National Center for the Production of Passports in Yaounde on Thursday, July 1. Ibrahim, like many other applicants, had completed the online registration stage.
I had my appointment at 10:45. When I came, they cross-checked all my documents. Everything was okay. And I went there. I filled all the formalities. And they took my fingerprint. I signed 2 times. And they have given me an appointment that I should come back to get my passport in 2 days' time.
The new biometric and highly secured procedure has won the total confidence of applicants.
It is wonderful. It is wonderful. I pray that it should go like this throughout. Wonderful. I've not spent up to 30 minutes here.
I am truly elated. When the new procedure was announced, I did not believe, but today I trust it because I have done it myself.
Official police sources say this operation has started in all branches in the country and in all Cameroonian diplomatic and consular services around the world.
Cameroon has successfully negotiated a second Eurobond on international markets, securing 450 billion CFA francs out of the 1,481.1 billion obtained. The money will be used primarily to refund investors who took part in the 2015 Eurobond. Clarissa Rue-Takan reports on the unfolding of that deal.
Unexpected and unprecedented for Cameroon, given the circumstances. More than 80% of the 2015 Eurobond is on the way of being serviced. There is therefore no additional debt burden for the state. COVID-19 was a major setback, but not for the 205 investors who took part in Cameroon's second Eurobond experience.
The state has reached a record buyback rate, which is around 80% of the outstanding amount of the 2015 Eurobond. Cameroon successfully returned on international capital markets during this first semester of the year 2021, more specifically the Eurobonds market.
The pitching paid off. Cameroon's credit worthiness was not questioned.
Investors expressed their renewed confidence in the quality of Cameroon's signature, supported by the successful execution of a first IMF program, prospect of a new program with a fund, and the implementation of our 2020-2030 development strategy.
The outcome unfolded weeks after the presidential ordinance upgrading the threshold for concessional and non-concessional loans, and that reviewing the 2021 state budget upward.
The remains of former Prime Minister Simon Achidiachu, who died on May 4 this year in the United States of America, were coffined today at the mortuary of the Yaounde Referral Hospital. Clusters of state dignitaries, including the sitting and former Prime Ministers Joseph John Gute and Philemon Young, joined family members and friends of the deceased as they began paying him their last tribute. Christian Che Atam reports.
A triumphant entry for one who served his country with loyalty. The coffining of former Prime Minister Simon Achidi Acho was not just a simple family affair. The state was represented at the event at the highest levels as a silent acknowledgement of all the efforts made by the fallen statesman and astute politician during his tenure as Prime Minister from 1992 to 1996.
No nothing at all. Our days on earth.
During the short religious service, the preacher reminded everyone present that life is short and that it is necessary to make daily efforts to prepare for one's end. After the religious service, it was time for viewing. The family and friends told the story of a patriarch with a good heart. The corpse was taken to the residence of the departed PM in Yaounde, pending burial Saturday in Santa, Northwest Region.
And we give you a reading of this press release from the Cabinet of the Prime Minister's Office, and it reads, on the esteemed instructions of the Head of State, the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, shall represent the President of the Republic at the official funeral ceremony instituted in honor of Honorable Simon Achidi Achu, former Prime Minister. The ceremony shall take place on Saturday, the 3rd of July 2021 in Santa, in the Northwest Region, and the release has been signed by the Director of Cabinet of the Prime Minister's Office, Balungeli Confiance Ebune. The second phase of the EU-sponsored Economic and Social Development Program of secondary cities in Cameroon overwhelmed by instability has gone in the offing. The program, that is run by the Special Council Support Fund for Mutual Assistance, FCA, seeks to strengthen the reception capacity and resilience of the host councils by improving their living environment and creating economic opportunities for the local populations. Ebenezer Kanga reports on the earmarked towns and projects.
Following the security crisis in some neighboring countries, as well as the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, some council areas of Cameroon have received a huge number of refugees and internally displaced persons who have fled for safety. The Economic and Social Development Program of secondary cities hit by factors of instability seeks to strengthen the reception capacity and resilience of the host councils by improving the living environment of the local populations. Phase 1 of the program is being executed since 2019 in 15 councils. Phase 2 that has been launched will be executed in 8 councils in the west and littoral regions.
The second phase also is going to be a success. There is no reason for us to think that things are going to be different.
I'm very happy to accompany the efforts of the Cameroonian government to make decentralization work.
Launching phase 2 of the program, the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development called on the beneficiary councils to use it to transform the constraints they are facing into opportunities.
And now on to our Thursday in the regions. We take you to the far north region of Cameroon, which is currently witnessing an alarming increase in the prices of cereals, especially millet, corn and rice. Residents say the situation is causing untold hardship as they have been compelled to cut down on their daily food intake. As Henry Tato Ekambi reports from CRTV Far North, the price hikes are being linked to the fact that the bulk of the cereals produced in the region is being shipped abroad to neighboring countries. Henry?
The prices of cereals like millet, rice, corn and sorghum began rising in a snail-like manner, but in recent months they have taken a jump. Wholesalers who blame the price hikes on a number of reasons say the unpleasant situation caps their proceeds.
We sell the largest bag of yellow millet for 20,000 francs and white millet for 22,000 francs. But before, those varieties of millet used to be 16 or 17,000. This is due to the lack of rains.
For retailers, their situation seems to be worse as they are in direct contact with the populace.
At first, millet was £5 for 1,000. Now it is £2.50 for 1,000 francs. We are in difficulties. We sell most of that thing because we also eat them.
Yet consumers believe it is their wallet that is feeling the deepest pain with the price surge.
Price of corn has changed. Everything has become so expensive. At times we come to the market, we are just confused.
Those my sister just delivered, I just went to buy the millet, but knowing that I will buy it 4 for 1,000, unfortunately I had it 3 also for 1,000.
And their wish is to see a quick turnaround of the situation in their favor.
In spite of last year's flood which hit parts of that part of the country when crops were barely sprouting, coupled with migratory birds which ravage cereals in farms in the Legon and Chari division, authorities in the region are investing lots of efforts to ensure that the region does not run dry of food. Sylvester Atemken reports on some of the measures currently being taken to boost the production of cereals and avert the risk of an imminent famine.
The abundance of stock of variety of cereals produced in the far north region in the local markets guarantees food security in spite of adverse climatic conditions, especially with floods caused by torrential rains which destroyed extensive farms.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development put at the disposal of the producer many farm inputs like improved seeds, farm input like fertilizer.
Measures have been taken by the Ministry of Trade to check speculation, making the produce affordable for the average consumer.
Making control at the level of our markets and even around our important towns.
Meanwhile, given the gap between demand and availability of rice, the government has been multiplying efforts to step up domestic production through the Rice Expansion and Development Company based in Yagwa.
We must have enough machines. The other challenge is the commercialization of rice.
Scientific research has also enabled the introduction of high-yielding variety of cereals in the far north region with positive output.
Thanks for watching the 7:30 news on the Cameroon Radio Television, the CRTV. We are beaming live from Yaounde. Cameroonian lawmakers have recommended the use of Cameroon's cultural policy as a key instrument in national development and to speed up the creation of all artistic and cultural federations and associations. The MNAs made the recommendation at a special plenary sitting chaired by Senior Deputy Speaker Hilarion Etong. The discussions aimed at gauging how art and culture can contribute in the development of the country. Esther Kmer has the details from the National Assembly.
Cultural heritage is unimpeachably a source of identity and cohesion for communities, and with creativity primordial in fostering inclusive and pluralistic societies, the time to act is now.
It comes at a time when government itself has advanced in its vision of art and culture.
The sector, though marred by inadequate funding and the non-traceability of proceeds from cultural activities, is guided by legal instruments.
These laws are important. They constitute the reference point and the milestone that allow us to differentiate the periods of analysis of the evolution of the activities of our subsector.
The disorganization in copyright royalties and the absence of infrastructure for cultural and artistic expression are rife.
It is important that copyright is being carried out to protect the creative arts industry.
They should integrate them into government, create a budget, pay them salaries.
Restructuring the national artistic movement and stepping up the ministry's budget to the 13 billion CFA francs it requires will likely guarantee the sustainability of Cameroon's culture.
The Medical Imaging Center of the Maro Regional Hospital will go operational soon. This announcement was made by Public Health Minister, who is on a working visit in the Far North region. Manauda Malache, who promised to upgrade the hemodialysis center, also enjoined health workers in the region to go for the COVID-19 vaccine. From Marwa, Henry Tato Ekambi reports.
The Medical Imaging Center of the Mara Regional Hospital has been long overdue, and the Minister of Public Health, who is quite aware of this urgent need of the populace, says the wait is now almost over.
We have this equipment of images and the dialysis equipment. We are going to do our best to ameliorate this equipment.
The boss of Public Health, who also got word that the personnel of the Mara Regional Hospital are fit dragging to take the COVID-19 vaccine, as just 13% of them have received it, he urged them to arm themselves with this barrier measure so as to be worthy bearers of the vaccine message.
We are going to launch a campaign of vaccination, and the health personnel will play a key role. So we have a change about the vaccination, and we conclude that they are going all to be vaccinated in the few days.
The Minister of Public Health also enjoined the populace to put aside all the controversies related to the vaccine and cash in on the mass vaccination campaign to run from the 7th to the 11th of July.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Since the launch of the ongoing immunization campaign against the coronavirus in Cameroon some 2 months ago, a good number of Cameroonians are still dragging their feet to take their jabs. Gilbert Ongene engages his guest at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center, the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the National Immunization Program, Dr. Andreas Njo Ateke, on what strategies they are currently using to persuade feet-dragging Cameroonians to take the COVID-19 vaccines. Hello, Gilbert. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Ben Meno Pufong. Welcome to the Public Health Emergency Operations Center. Tonight we are talking about the management of non-adherence to vaccination against the COVID-19, and our guest is Dr. Andreas Njo. He's of the National Immunization Program of Cameroon. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Gilbert.
Now, tell us, what do you tell people who refuse taking their jab with the pretext that traditional concoctions that they take can protect them against the coronavirus?
Thank you so much. I think the first thing to find out is, has somebody not been vaccinated because the person has denied vaccination? If the answer is no, there could be other reasons. There are some who have not been vaccinated because they have not had the opportunity to get vaccinated. That is why the government began by getting vaccine closer to the population, and even the vaccination campaign, vaccine will be taken to the population. The second part, if somebody has denied vaccine, then maybe the person has not had enough information. There is need to constantly communicate, and interpersonal communication has proven to be very useful.
Can somebody get protected without getting vaccinated? Is it possible?
The first thing is that without any antibody against COVID-19, there is no protection. Now, there is some protection that can be obtained once we have survived an infection. But the challenge with it is that it is short term. After about 6 months, the protection might completely wear off. But vaccination helps to give a stronger protection. And 2 doses, like for the vaccines we have in Cameroon, boost up even more the immunity. So it is strongly recommended.
Well, you got it all, Ben Meno Pufong. Vaccination is the surest way of getting immunized against the COVID-19. And of course, everybody has to adhere to this mass national campaign in order to get vaccinated. Over to you, studio.
Thank you very much, Gilbert Ongene. The new station manager of CRTV South, Andrea Aristide Kmer, has been officially installed and challenged to sell the cultural and tourist potential of the region and to project government development initiatives. CRTV's Director General Charles Ndongo used the opportunity to reiterate the need for discipline and the respect of professional ethics and deontology by the personnel of the corporation. Pontianus Lawang reports on the ceremony as it unfolded in the presence of South Governor Felix Ngelengele.
The die cast by board members of the CRTV last June 25 to choose a manager for its South regional station fell on this man. Andrea Aristide Kmer has been described as the right man for the job. Son of the soil, he is also one-time news editor at CRTV South.
My gratitude go first to God Almighty, then to the CRTV managing authorities for this mark of confidence.
The governor of the South region, Felix Ngelengele, has officially commissioned Andre Aristide Kmer alongside the new service head for information and news magazines, Ghislaine Pierre Esono, with the challenge for them to sell the rich cultural and tourism potential of the region to the world and to project government's development initiatives in the administrative unit.
CRTV South region should work in close collaboration with the administration.
In his installation speech, CRTV's Director General Charles Ndongo saluted the hard work done by former station manager Beth Mbala and urged her successor Andre Aristide Kmer to use the strategic position of the border region to showcase strides made towards sub-regional integration, to accompany the ongoing decentralization process, and above all to improve on the quantity and quality of productions, and so with strict respect to professional ethics and deontology.
And we wish the new team well. The 415th edition of Blaise Pascal Tala's news magazine, Jeune Afrique Économie, has dedicated 225 pages out of the 407 on Cameroon. Areas projected include the relations between Cameroon and the Vatican, the controversial forest exploitation in the country, and the December 2020 regional elections as one of the country's materialization of its culture and diversity. Kilian Dandifon has a review of the sections of the magazine that focus on Cameroon.
In the first 183 pages of the Continental News magazine, the special feature on Cameroon Vatican begins with the 6-day visit of His Eminence Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Secretary of State for the Holy See, who brought a message of solidarity from Pope Francis to President Paul Biya from January 28 to February 3, 2021. The emissary of the Holy See also had the opportunity to discuss the situation in Cameroon's crisis, northwest and southwest regions, and his exhortation in a special holy service was a prayer for peace in Cameroon. The magazine notes that the first exchanges between Cameroon and the Vatican dates back to the 19th century. Contemporary examples abound with the visits of Pope John Paul II, Pope Benedict XVI, which both projected President Paul Biya as a committed and practicing Christian as well as a rigorous man. The First Lady, late Cardinal Toumé, outstanding bishops, also find space in the news magazine special edition. Jeune Afrique Économie number 415 dedicates 28 pages on Cameroon's diplomacy. In 4 pages, the news magazine talks about the exploitation of Cameroon's forest reserves, describing it as a controversy of the green gold.
The board chair of Shana's Insurance SA, Maurice Matanga, has been appointed full administrator to represent French-speaking states and companies in West and Central Africa at the board of directors of the African reinsurance company Afrique. He was elected to this prestigious position by 81% of the 65 shareholders during a general assembly of Afrique that held through video conferencing. From Douala, Salie Benyanyoki reports.
Cameroon, SNH and Shanas Insurance SA are honored following the election of the board chair of Shanas Insurance, Mr. Maurice Matanga, as full board member within the African reinsurance company Africa Re. He will represent French-speaking states and companies in West and Central Africa, including Burundi and the Democratic Republic of Congo. During a press conference in Douala, the newly elected administrator of Africa Re thanked the Minister of Finance and the Director General of SNH for their support, which has reinforced the credibility of Shanas Insurance SA.
What I'm going to do in the board of directors of Africa Re, I'm going to defend the position of 65 shareholders.
The image of Cameroon will be projected through this position, and the financial fallouts will be enormous.
Many countries have already launched those insurance companies. So Cameroon also is now on the way to do it. Perhaps in order to keep the money which you pay, instead of sending it abroad, that money, when you keep it in your country, you can use it, you can develop your country also.
Within his 3-year mandate in Africa Re, Mr. Matanga will ensure the putting in place of Cameroon Re.
By attending the board of directors of African Re, by discussion, we may help because they have competencies, they have knowledge about. They can be with us in order to help Cameroon Re to start up.
Before his election, Mr. Matanga is serving as Director of Strategy and Development at SNH, board member of Shanas Insurance SA and Sika Re. He will share his wealth of knowledge and expertise with other stakeholders of Africa Re for the benefit of Shanas Insurance SA.
Now on to this note on sports. Cameroon's female wrestler Esombe Tiako Joseph Emilien will be Cameroon's standard bearer at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. She was handed the Cameroonian flag today in Yaounde by Prime Minister Joseph John Gute, who encouraged the 12 athletes to fly Cameroon's flag at the game to show proof of courage and determination. Christian Che Atam completes that story.
In the name of the President of the Republic and with the blessings of an entire nation, Prime Minister Joseph John Gute handed over the flag to Esombe Tiako Emilien. He encouraged the standard bearer and the 11 other athletes to represent the country at the Tokyo Olympic Games to be strong and positive throughout the competition. He also reassured them of the constant support of President Paul Biya. On behalf of his teammates, the standard bearer takes the oath, promising to defend the country with honor during the Games. The president of the National Olympic and Sports Committee, Kalkaba Malboum, who will lead Cameroon's delegation of 32 to Tokyo, thanked the President of the Republic for ensuring that the athletes prepare under good conditions. He promised that the delegation will portray a good image of the country and show the lion fighting spirit. Sports Minister Narcisse Mwele Kombi encouraged the athletes to be inspired by former Olympic medalists like Françoise Mbango, Joseph Bessala, and others. Tokyo 2021 will be the 14th time Cameroon will be taking part in the Olympic Games. The country has won 3 gold medals, 1 silver and 2 bronze since its first participation in 1964.
And that's it for today and for the week. Thanks for watching. I am back.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
run a small transport company.